And welcome back to the Gadget Spot.
Woo! Hey, everybody.
Yeah.
Hey, bring your hot dogs here.
That's what. That's.
I'm
what
more of a bratwurst kind of guy, but sure.
Your shirt's subliminal messaging.
Yeah, there's a hot dog on it.
I really want a hot dog right now.
I guess it's not subliminal. It's
No,
just,
that's superliminal.
yeah.
I guess. This is the Gadget Spot where we talk about tech gadgets and video games. Let's go around and introduce the panel. Owen.
Hey, everybody. My name's Owen. You can follow me on Twitter at TechNoan. That's all. Jarron,
right.
go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jarron. You can find me on Twitter at Jarron, Jarron.
Why did that sound like a question? At
I'm gonna do that for mine next time. You can find me in places like, I don't know, Twitter.
Yes, I said what I said, and I meant it. Twyman.
Okay.
Yep,
Twyman, introduce yourself.
My name's Twyman. I don't use Twitter, but I know somebody who does, and that's our show host.
Hey, look at this guy. He's guesting on the show, and he threw it over just
That was
like
a perfect pass.
I am impressed, Twyman. Well done. I'm Tony. Check me out on Twitter at QuadTTony, where I do have a Twitter. You have a Twitter? Boar.
Well, that's a off-roading.
That's okay.
Boar _off-road. If you're into off-roading in Jeeps.
Yeah, but how do you spell boar?
BOAR.
Oh, okay.
Hey, I follow you. You are on Twitter.
See?
It's a business account. It's not my personal one, and I'm hardly on there. So
This is true. All right. What did I say? Everything? Gadget Spot every week. Geek Show every week. Check it out.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends. Let's see. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about this week. I think we're going to start off though with our hearty thanks to our Patreon subscribers.
Thank you, Patreon. If you like us a lot and want to tip us, go to patreon.com/gadgetspot. And if you donate $6 or above, we read your name out loud. But
We've also decided.
first-time donators.
Yeah.
We'll read your name too. So big shout out to Wesley. Thank you.
Thanks, Wesley.
Yeah. So anyway, on to our most favorite list of all.
The Patreon list.
Yes.
Okay.
AJ Jasper,
Wasn't sure where you were going, but
David Broshinsky, and Aaron Young. Thank you.
the best.
Dick Messerly, Josh Sidaway, Splinter, Hardware, Adam Hecht, Ryan Baker, Aaron Faulkner, Demons, Souls, Platinum Underway.
Oh, good luck.
That would be Joe Reedy. Man, he loves those games.
He's a huge fan of those games.
He
loves those games like I love Witcher 3
He's a masochist for sure.
and Borderlands.
Adam Foote, Spencer Knowlton, Borderlands 3, well worth the wait.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, Michael Beck, Jeffrey Kale, Roger Allen, Austin Beauregard, Conrad Southworth.
Thank you so much, Patreon
Beauregard!
backers. Hey, you filling in for James?
Look
at you.
It felt like the thing to
We've
do.
been Pavloved into doing that.
I
now.
guess so. We can't read Patreon without doing it.
The show doesn't feel right.
James says hi. I assume he didn't actually say hi, but I'm going to say hi for him. He couldn't make to the recording today, and that's why Twyman is here. It's been a while since you've been on, Twyman.
Mm-hmm. You invited me once, and then you immediately took it away.
Well, yeah, I mean, you weren't very good, but we decided to give you a second chance.
I remember his episode very well, talking about laser discs that he has and old systems.
Look at this guy.
I can't walk into a DI now without going and looking at those and then thinking, I wonder if he has this. I wonder if I should tell Tony to tell him
Twyman,
to drive to Davis County.
You made an impact.
There you go.
That's all that matters at the end of the day. Changing
Right.
lives.
Once you go Twyman, you can't go back.
Once you go Laserdisc
Backman.
480.
Oh, 480p. It's a resolution of kings, I suppose.
I get really mad when if I ever have that resolution. I get mad.
Right.
I'm like, what is this?
480p. Yuck.
Well, it looks great on a CRT.
When you're playing NES,
Yeah.
NES was 240p.
that's why it looks good.
Double. Not double.
All right. Very good. Thanks for being on the show, Twyman. Welcome back.
Yeah.
And are we going to do the email this episode or next episode? What do you think?
Next one.
Okay, next one. Was there something else?
Yep. Chris Cushley's email for next time. That's
Okay, cool. Well, let's head right into some sweet news. We got a lot of neat stuff that happened in the last few weeks. The biggest and most important one is, I don't know. I didn't really have anything to go with that.
The tile sticker.
I was going to say, usually at that point, I talk about Borderlands or anything CD Projekt Red does, but they don't have any news this week. Yeah, let's talk about the tile sticker. That's it. I thought Tile would have gone out of business by now.
Me too.
I mean, I don't know anyone that has bought a second round of tiles ever.
yeah.
They just let their battery expire.
And then
Hey,
go,
that was me.
And then they go
they
never.
don't, and they just don't do anything
Like
about
that
it.
wasn't useful.
Hey, but this is cool. You know, in like comic book movies and sci-fi movies, they have this tracker thing that they throw on.
Yeah, or spy movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Tile invented that. It's the Tile sticker.
But does it actually do GPS?
No, it's their Bluetooth network.
Oh, okay.
So it hijacks Bluetooth connections from nearby phones to let you know where it is, of course. And that's how Tile works. But
Okay, wait. Here's my question about networks like that, because I have one of those on my wallet, right? I can't remember. Let me pull it out. I can't remember what the. It's a different company, but it does the same thing. It's called Exter's the Chipola. Chipola is a company. I think they're bigger in Europe.
Yeah, they ride. Their whole business model is to ride the Bluetooth signal of other app users.
Well, see,
right?
this
or
is-
the other ping of other app users.
That's what I was curious about. Do you guys know if it has to be other stuff on Tile's network of Bluetooth devices or Chipola's network
yeah.
of
they're-
Bluetooth? Like, it won't just pick up any Bluetooth from any phone, will it?
They have
That
to.
seems like a
My understand-
violation of privacy.
Yeah, my understanding is they have to have the app installed, which then the EULA puts them in with that privacy risk, where they say,
Okay.
"Hey, other devices are going to ping your phone, and we're going to use that data to identify the location of that." Nobody ever reads that, I'm sure, but I'm sure that's there.
out here in the roughs of Utah, I don't know how well that would work.
That's what I was thinking.
But
like,
in a big city, I'm sure there would be plenty of people.
probably
Oh,
decent
yeah.
in a big city, but
Yeah.
out in suburbs and whatnot, I just don't see it as being very.
Couldn't keep track of your cow or something, it's wandering
I'm
around.
gonna slap a tile sticker on all my cows.
This
What-
is
how did
cool
my-
though. It's a little circular sticker. It's a few millimeters thick, and the battery lasts 3 years. You just put it on whatever device you want, like your bike, if you're worried about that getting stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And voila, you have a tracking device on whatever you want. It's pretty awesome.
Because it's passive. No, it's active. It's broadcasting. It's got a battery, so it's an active.
Yeah.
It's an active broadcast.
I think I want to be a PI now.
I think that'd be cool if
This
they
is
also,
all I need.
I think it'd be also cool if they had a pass. I wonder if they're passive as well. Like if you got too close to an RFID reader and it sent out the EM field, and it like would ping it on its own.
See, that's what I was wondering if it.
Because then I don't know. That's a good question. Is it solely reliant
Yeah.
on
On their
on the
network.
crowdsourced,
Right.
Or could other RFID readers
Give you that information as well.
ping that
ping it
that
across.
device? Because it'd have to. They're active and passive. So like prox cards for like security doors, those are passive. They have
Right.
they have no battery. They're inert. But when they get introduced to a magnetic field, the RFID chip
It
sends its data.
exactly. You get that specific
reads.
RF wavelength that it's
Yeah.
programmed with.
Can you not replace the battery in the
No.
standard tile?
Once the battery's gone, you throw it away, don't you?
In certain models, they have a new Tile Pro where you can replace the battery.
Really?
Yeah.
it-
I didn't have a Tile Pro. I just had a normal Tile. It lasted like a year.
I think that they should be set up with wireless charging, so you just throw them on a mat.
That'd be great.
Instead of having to charge them and worry about a USB port on them or whatever.
So this Tile sticker comes in a 2-pack for $40.
What?
That's not bad for 3 years of
Yeah. That's
Oh,
not
last
bad.
3 years. This
Yeah.
time.
Mitigating-
I was thinking
I mean,
1
'cause
year,
it-
like what you said.
because it mitigates the risk, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't solve it. You can't like Bluetooth track it with GPS, or you can't track it with GPS and find its exact location. But
Right, but there's more of a chance you'd find it.
especially, I mean, the application they put it for, like on skateboards and bikes and stuff, like it's perfect for a big city where there's a dense population,
Yeah.
where you're likely going to have more people using the service.
I just wish GPS chips could become more efficient. So it
So you
could
could actually have GPS location. Yeah.
It'd be awesome.
I think that I want the network to be free. If the GPS network was free,
Well, GPS networks are free.
no, you have to pay to sign up. Like you have to pay for data on the network, right? So like
No.
no.
If you buy a GPS unit, you pay the upfront GPS cost, and then
I
you have to pay
I
for
guess
map
that's true.
updates.
I guess that's true.
But as far as the locating, that's free.
I guess that's true. The tracking, like if you bought a tracking device, my understanding is you had to pay for the data service as a rolling.
No, because I use like old iPads without cellular. You
Yeah.
can pull down the GPS and
Oh, right.
you can see
'Cause
where
it's
you're
still
at on the
doing-
map. 'cause
right.
It's just pinging off those public satellites.
Right.
Yeah, the ideal would be a Tile sticker with a GPS and a cellular chip in it.
Oh man, that'd be such a battery suck though.
No, but Amazon's Sidewalk service that we talked about last time, where it uses the 900 megahertz band.
That would be different.
Where it's very low power.
That could work for
very low
a
data.
while.
It'd be perfect
as
for
long as
that.
you could recharge it.
Yeah, that's
Because if it's
making it a consumable like that, like or where it's
you just throw it away.
Shelf life?
after because I guarantee even with that you'd get, unless it was bulky, you'd get a month, maybe 2 months.
And I question the 3-year shelf life
Yeah,
if
me
it's
too,
constantly
honestly.
being read. Like,
What do you look?
If it's constantly like being talked to and like read, like I wonder if usage lowers the battery life expectancy.
I don't know. What are you looking at over there, Twyman?
Oh, I never used the tile, but in the off-roading world, these Milwaukee Ticks is what it's called. They're basically the same thing, kind of a Bluetooth tracker. The battery only lasts a year, though. It is replaceable, waterproof, super heavy duty, and the way it works is anyone who has this one key app, which you can install to not only do this, but you can actually Bluetooth into your tools and change torque settings and stuff if they're one key compatible.
Oh wow!
So anybody with that app, if this tick gets near somebody that's running that app, which runs in the background,
It'll
right?
ping that.
It'll ping off and let you know where it was.
Right.
Milwaukee's kind of an interesting company because they are known for tools, but they make a lot of other just like random stuff associated with like tools and construction, like those, or like boom boxes, like
Right.
heavy
They
duty
make boom boxes?
heavy duty boom boxes. Or I had for a while I had a Milwaukee heated jacket.
They still make those.
Yeah,
And
like stuff.
What happened to that?
Did they do power tools as well?
I think I gave it to the I gave it to the DI.
You had it last year.
No, last year I was using the one that I bought that was from the Utah-based company.
Oh, so it was a
It
different
had
one.
like a down insulation and stuff like that. That one was way nice. I love that jacket.
yeah, the batteries for that Milwaukee actually work in their drills
Yeah.
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, my brother-in-law's got one of those jackets.
Yeah. I mean, they're good. It was a good jacket.
Yeah, Milwaukee's really kind of come out in the forefront, really, in tool quality. I used to buy only DeWalt, and now DeWalt's kind of gone
Oh,
down
really?
the pooper. So,
I didn't know that about DeWalt. That's bad.
So what quality tool makers are there now?
really, for what we do, where we're building fences and we have high torque situations, you need to drill through 10-inch logs, things like that.
So you're talking about, by what we do, you're talking about your
Off-roading group, we do
Off-road
service,
group, yeah.
building fences, building kiosks,
up in
just
Clearing trails.
a lot of heavy work, in the dust, in the dirt. And Milwaukee, hands down, has been just beating everybody else we've been trying. So,
What about Makita? Not so great, huh?
I used to buy them before I bought DeWalt. We haven't had good experience with them.
I've been a DeWalt guy for a long time, and their stuff has just not been as good.
So I have a DeWalt
Yeah.
drill. It's a couple of years old, but honestly, I don't use it enough to be able to say that, it's high quality and will last. You know what I mean?
And for most people, they're probably going to meet your needs, right?
Yeah.
The $100 Thanksgiving day after Thanksgiving special, perfect. Beat
Right.
on it and throw it away and get another one the next year.
Yerp. Okay. Also, speaking of like Tile's one of those companies you don't hear from very often. Here's another company that seems to have kind of resurrected itself in the technology world, possibly anyway. We'll see if their next products does well. But Essential Phones
They're back.
is coming out with a new phone, and it's a weird looking device, honestly.
So you really wouldn't think Essential's still around?
No, because they basically like waved the white flag of surrender.
Yeah, so they canceled their second phone because their first phone...
It just didn't sell well enough.
It wasn't... I don't want to say it's a flop because it was actually a really cool phone for the
Yeah.
time. My brother had one. The only bad thing was his broke randomly and he never understood why, and there was reliability concerns. But they canceled their second phone. Their CEO got accused of all sorts of sexual misconduct.
Andy Rubin did?
When he was at Google, yeah.
Oh, that's right, at Google.
Yeah, but they canceled a bunch of products that they were developing, but suddenly, out of nowhere, they are talking about releasing a new phone. And this one, we're talking about it because it's a very interesting form factor. It's called Project Gem. And imagine like a really, really long, thin remote.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what the form factor is.
Or what I was thinking of was, the big packs of gum you can get with like 32 sticks or whatever?
No.
You don't like Wrigley's chewing gum?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
They have like 25 or 32 sticks or something.
I thought you meant like super big.
No. So it looks like just two of those sitting on top of each other lengthwise,
Yeah, a little bit.
or like a Snickers bar.
Yes.
It looks like a thin Snickers bar.
Is this the company that made that?
That's their first phone you're looking at, the Essential phone.
Yeah, is this the company that made that phone that they kind of marketed to, elderly people, I guess?
No.
Older
No.
Not the one with just the basic big buttons on it and that's all it does type
I think
thing?
you're thinking of Jitterbug.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
that's Jitterbug.
There we go. Okay.
So this phone, it runs a fork of Android from what I hear. It's not really confirmed quite yet. And so they're showing like a Maps application, which definitely isn't Google Maps or Here Maps or pretty much anything. It's using a version of OpenStreetMaps.
Oh.
So they don't have Google Play support on this.
Interesting. That's a huge failure, if you ask me.
Well, I think it tells me that they're not trying to go for the typical smartphone market.
I guess with the what am I thinking of? The shape of this phone, a lot of apps would probably look weird on it.
Yeah, it would. So they definitely have to customize the experience. So maybe they're thinking it's like a between a dumb phone and a smartphone.
Like a companion device to a smartphone.
Maybe someone who doesn't like want full on smartphone. It has like all the basic apps you would need and nothing more. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. It actually has this really cool metallic looking material that changes color depending on the light. They're calling it I don't.
It's just
remember.
iridescent, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's different. It's really cool. And the overall design I think looks pretty attractive. It's pretty much an all screen device. It has a little cutout camera on the front, a bigger camera on the back, so maybe image quality will be good. We don't know. But it's an interesting phone nonetheless, and I'm curious where they're going to go with it.
I want to. Do they have dimensions? Because I want to know how long it actually is. Because I look at it, and maybe it's just because it's so skinny, but I look at it and I think of putting it in my pocket and like sitting forward and having it just fold in half.
If my hand is as big as this dude's hand in the picture, which I doubt because I have baby hands, it looks like it's about as long as the iPhone Pro Max, but of course half as wide since it's so skinny.
Yeah,
But roughly in that area, I bet.
This is one of those phones I'm really interested in seeing Jerry rig everything's durability test on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I enjoy those.
Oh,
Even
they're-
though I cringe,
Yeah.
I still enjoy them.
Did you watch the one with the Galaxy Fold?
Is that the one?
new Galaxy Fold?
No. The last one I watched was where he was doing the in-screen fingerprint and scratching the heck out of it.
Oh
and
yeah.
seeing if that works.
So
That Galaxy Fold's still a nightmare.
it is. Yeah. They.
They re-released it, and it's still having screen problems. Not as bad as before, but there's been reports of stuff still getting behind the screen.
Well, so you haven't watched the Jerry rig everything?
I haven't.
Okay, so go watch that, and you'll see him. First, he does his scratch test on it, and
Probably failed that miserably.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because it's a plastic
Yeah.
screen. It was like deeper grooves at a level 4, and most phones don't even scratch until you get to level 6.
Wow.
So
Soft plastic.
Yeah, and so the crazy thing about it though was he got done doing the scratch test and raking his razor blade along the edges to see if it's made of metal or plastic on the edges. It's metal, but he takes a teaspoonful of dirt and just puts it on the screen and
my.
folds the screen.
Oh my.
And then just like holds it up and tilts it so the dirt falls out. And from then on, throughout the rest of the video,
You hear crackling.
You hear it crackling if he opens and closes.
Oh, never bring that to a beach.
Just from that, he didn't even like sit there
Dust
and
in
try
your-
to pack it in. or
Dust in
anything.
your pocket, like
Yep.
anything, right?
Oh yeah, and, crackled the rest of the
That's
video.
bad.
But the interesting thing about it was, and spoiler alert, if this is something you were going to go watch, but at the end of the video, he does his classic bend test where he tries to bend the phone to see if it'll fold in half like the
It's
iPhone
meant to
6
fold
is
in
used
half.
to. No, backwards. And he actually could not get it to fold backwards. The hinge was strong enough, and you see him putting everything he had in his hands were shaking. He was trying to bend it back so hard, and it never did bend backwards. So that part was interesting, but the fact alone that if you have any dirt in your pocket, that's going right into the hinge,
Maybe-
just straight in.
Maybe Microsoft's onto something with their new Surface Neo.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Microsoft event. They showed off a couple of new Surface products and
Or
some
Duo. Excuse me.
And they actually showed off a new phone, which nobody saw.
Nobody saw that coming because they're complete.
They bailed out of the phone business a couple years ago, and they failed miserably.
They're lashing with the Windows. I actually had that phone.
Yeah,
I loved it.
Jarron had one of them too.
I loved it because
yes, I did.
I loved it
It was
because
cool.
I was able to treat it just like a Windows machine and just I could transfer files. Like I'm a big Windows guy, and so
I had 2 Windows phones.
yeah.
And I think when I had mine, I think that's what I liked was that
Remote
Excel
desktop.
sheets could open on
Yeah.
it. It had the apps built in.
Since I was remote help, I could remote desktop so much easier without having to like worry about trying to fritter
kind of
with all sorts of
more native support.
It was a lot more native support for what I was doing.
And so they showed off. What did they call it? The Neo.
Did they call it a phone?
Well, it is. It runs Android.
Okay,
It runs Android, but it's a device that folds in half as well.
it's still a 2-screen
but it's
tablet,
two
right?
screen,
Yeah.
not one screen that folds.
And has this very visible hinge down the middle. So they're not trying to be a foldable screen.
yeah, they're not trying to say open this up to a tablet experience.
But it folds in, and you can fold it completely opposite. So both of the screens are on the outside.
Yeah, it's like a 360-degree hinge. Well, I guess that'd be more like 340, but anyway, you get the point.
So it's called the Surface Duo, and everything I've heard, this used to be their project. I think it was called Andromeda.
Okay.
That was internal, and things like this have been floating around since like 2009 when the Courier leaked.
The
long time
Courier,
ago.
yeah.
And this is just running Android. What, Android 10? I take it. Just the
They didn't say what version, but they said it will run Android
I
OS.
see.
And
Yeah.
it'll be heavily skinned as well.
Yeah.
Because it showed a few pictures of the OS on there, and it basically looks like Windows 10.
Yeah,
but it is
and
Android.
Windows 10 has been steadily moving more towards Linux-based OS anyway.
Trying
as far as
to.
under the hood.
So
Twyman, you don't agree? You don't like that, Twyman?
PowerShell. Yeah, buddy.
The future is coming.
not much has been teased on the specs, however. I think the screens look like they're from 3 years ago, just because the bezels are so stinking large on it.
It does have big bezels. We can't speak
Do you
to
think
the
that's to
screen
protect it?
quality.
And I wouldn't worry so much, except that this isn't even coming out for at least another year.
Yeah.
And so 1 year from now, the screen's going to look positively ancient.
What
well,
kind of,
I mean,
what
that's
kind
assuming
of,
they don't do any sort of update to the form factor.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
What kind of hardware do they have inside? Like what chip? They
didn't
don't.
say.
They don't say
They don't
anything.
say.
I mean, it's a year off, and
Right.
honestly, if they released with like this year's chips next year, even that would be, if you ask me, just a huge failure.
Do you think
on
they?
their part.
Do you think they got up on stage and they're just like, okay, don't laugh, but check this out.
we got a phone, guys? So if they don't have the current flagship specs, because I'm sure with a device that's like this, they're going to charge top dollar.
Oh,
I
for sure.
guarantee. And if they're going to charge top dollar, they have to have the current flagship CPU, amount of RAM, everything like other competitive Android devices.
right.
I kind of bet that they'll use their custom chip that they announced with the Surface Pro X.
You think so?
Which we'll talk
Yeah.
about in a little bit. That's my guess.
Is that ARM based?
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
ARM
They
based.
could use that then. Yeah.
So it's an interesting device. I hope they tweak it further. I think it kind of has the possibility to be a pretty cool thing
I
because
want dual phones, like dual SIM support.
So you could
I
run
have
two phones
on
one device?
one on each side of the screen.
if you get a call,
You could do that.
you know, back in the Nokia days
Set
where
the phones next to each other, close it up.
the phone they used on the Matrix, how it made like the satisfying click. You
Yeah.
know? It'd be kind of cool if you got a call, you just flip it around itself and like answer
yeah,
it.
that would be kind of cool.
And if you want it protected, fold it in on itself, put it in your pocket. It could be cool.
We'll see how it does when pour some
yeah.
teaspoon of dirt on that.
Right?
See what
Yeah.
happens.
Luckily, there's no screen on the hinge, so it would just mess up
Yeah.
the hinge and not the screen itself.
And it has a bigger brother called the Surface Neo.
That's the other one I was thinking of.
Speaking of Matrix,
And they put a tablet type of display down on the keyboard, right?
what now?
Down
No,
on the
no,
keyboard,
so-
right?
So this is kind of weird. Their form factor on this, it's two straight up screens.
It's
weird.
exactly like the Duo, only bigger. It looks very much like the Duo.
Oh, I was looking at the picture. I
Um,
thought that was an actual keyboard.
but
It
instead
is.
of-
It is an actual keyboard.
It is.
They
So-
have a Bluetooth, like film keyboard, not like a. What's the word I'm looking for? Rubber, I guess.
silicone,
Maybe
maybe.
silicone.
Well, it looks plastic to me, but it magnetically attaches to the screen.
yeah.
So if you set it down like a laptop, you could fold this keyboard up and just let it sit on top, and you basically have a laptop. And it looks like it has a gigantic touch bar like the Mac
Yeah.
above it, only it's part of the screen because the rest of the screen is underneath the keyboard. And it also has a trackpad. The screen doubles as a trackpad right above the keyboard.
And you can also, like Twyman's looking at, well, if the picture would load, describe that. That's pretty cool.
Batting around here.
Oh,
Are
so
you
it's
going to
like,
describe that, Twyman?
Oh, I thought you were asking Jarron.
I mean, you could just stare at it if you want, but
Well, I mean, he kind of already explained it. It looks like an
no. But in this form factor is not what he was talking about.
Right,
This is like it folds out like a book.
Yeah, it looks like a book sitting on a table with kind of like a wireless keyboard in front of it, and there's some kind
It's
of
a
pen next to it.
Yeah.
and so the pen also magnetically attaches to the back of the device to charge, I think. So the keyboard attaches to the back, the pen attaches to the back, and then if you want to use the keyboard, you can flip it up, put it onto the screen, type with it. If you don't want to use the keyboard, it's a double screen device, just like the Duo, and it doesn't run Android. It runs Windows, a version of Windows called Windows 10X, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 10X.
10X.
What size are the screens on this thing? I'm actually kind of interested in this. Like, this looks cool.
It didn't really say, but to me it looked like a 10-inch screen.
Two 10 inches? That
Yeah.
would be. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee it'll feel quick because I guarantee they're going to customize Windows to make it feel snappy.
Yeah,
but
they're-
as far as like actual workhorse specs on it, it's going to be a light
Yeah, for
utility
It's
device.
saying on here that they are two separate 9-inch displays that fold out to a full 13-inch workspace.
Okay, so two 9-inch displays.
So it runs Windows. They're saying that they're going to use an Intel chip, and they're customizing Windows heavily. They're getting rid of the normal shell, and
So if it's that size and it's using an Intel chip, it'll be using one of their U processors,
Yeah.
Probably.
which stands for ultra low voltage ULV.
so it's a very interesting form factor.
But yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't jump all in with ARM again. If they with
I
this
think they
custom-
learned their lesson.
Well,
Well-
they kind of did, but
I guess it depends on how well the Surface Pro X does, which is
Yeah.
another device they announced. It's basically a Surface Pro with the kickstand and the type cover, but the screen feels more of the device in the same form factor. So it's a bigger screen in the same form factor. Has two USB-C ports, but it uses Microsoft's first custom chip. It's called the SQ1 chip that they designed with Qualcomm.
Oh, they designed it with Qualcomm.
It sounds pretty powerful, though. It had so the GPU
I mean,
is.
I like Qualcomm. Don't get me wrong, but they're always trying to say they're like, oh, we got the new chip to beat Apple's.
But they never
But
do.
it's never even. They're
Yeah.
always 40% slower than Apple stuff.
If Microsoft had a hand in it, maybe there's something different. I don't know.
I hope so. Honestly, don't get me wrong. I really hope so because
People that have played around with it are saying it feels just as fast as a normal Surface Pro. And the GPU it's capable of 2 teraflops, so that's basically 2 Xbox Ones.
Really,
Yeah.
Okay, now that's interesting.
It is interesting, but the problem is it's since it's ARM, it's a different version of Windows, and that version of Windows does not support OpenGL.
What?
Yeah. So it has this great GPU in it, but no OpenGL support.
OpenGL is like 90% of applications that use any GPU rendering use OpenGL.
Yeah, so maybe that support will come in the future.
I hope so.
But you can run Win32 apps on it because that support came to Windows earlier.
That just runs a container, right?
I think it does, yeah.
Yeah.
And not every app supports it well enough. But it sounds like the majority of apps out there will run on it. If you're curious, you might want to look into it more just to make sure what you need runs on it. But it comes in 8 gigabyte or 16 gigabyte RAM configurations. Since it's
Okay.
Windows, I would definitely go 16.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Windows likes memory, not like it used to, but it definitely likes RAM.
Yeah. Starts at $1,000, so I think they're competing directly with the new iPad Pros.
Yeah, that
and
sounds about right.
You can get a pen on top of that. You can get a type cover on top of that.
That's like straight comparison to the iPad Pro, the big ones.
Yeah.
I'll
12
probably
12.9s.
accidentally buy one
Yeah, for work.
for work and then be like, oh, I didn't know.
Oh, sorry guys.
I really hope nobody's listening to that. This is not. You did not hear that.
Yeah, I don't know. Looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm always up for new stuff in the marketplace. Competition.
Yeah.
Even though it is two giants competing, I still like to see the competition.
I do too.
Out the door, though, you're going to be spending just as much as their new Surface laptops.
Which makes you think, should I just get a
Yeah,
Surface
I would
laptop?
just get a Surface laptop.
And I looked at the new Surface laptops. I was going to try and buy one this week. because somebody requested one at my work, and they're in pre-order still, so you can't. But I like that they've finally gone to a metallic finish for some of their options, which is nice.
Yeah, you can choose. You can still get the Alcantara, but you can also get metallic.
Yeah. So
with those though, they did announce that there's going to be in the 15-inch option an AMD choice for the CPU.
Interesting.
Yes, and thus a more powerful GPU. You can get a Vega
11.
Vega 11.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Vega 8 or Vega 11.
So you can still get Intel. You can choose AMD or Intel, but apparently it's pretty powerful on the AMD side.
I'm a little bit surprised that because I saw what chip it uses, and it uses a 2nd gen Ryzen, not a 3rd gen. So it's not the 7 nanometer Ryzen 3000 series, even though it says Ryzen like 3750 or something like that. It's actually Zen 1 Plus, I guess is what they call it.
I believe they have the same naming with their APUs as well.
Yeah.
The 3000 APUs are still on the old Zen architecture.
Right. Which that was good architecture too. It's just the new one's, a decent amount better.
Yeah.
But I would bet money that it's been pretty heavily modified to work well with Microsoft's stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm still curious about battery life.
adjusting the voltage exactly for the battery life and the single core performance and things like that. So
it starts at 1,000 for the 13.5 inch and then 1,200 for the 15 inch. And so comparing that to the Surface Pro X, I'd choose a laptop.
yeah, unless you had to have tablet features,
Yep.
I'd go laptop too.
You still get the tablet. I mean, with the Surface, you still get there's still the 2-in-1 with the touchscreen and.
Yeah, but it doesn't
So-
like fold back on itself.
Yeah,
It's
no.
still just a laptop with a
Yeah.
touchscreen.
Yeah. They announced a new Surface Pro, just better internals. Not much to say there. They had a USB-C port on it, which it needed. And then the Surface earbuds.
Oh, these look so weird.
Yeah. These are the weirdest looking earbuds I've seen, actually.
I saw the first time I saw a picture of them, I thought it was a joke. Honestly, I saw an article on them, and they had the picture of someone wearing them, and I was like, "That's a joke, right?"
So the giant ear studs that some people have that enlarge their earlobes by a ton.
Gauges.
Gauges. There we go. It looks like that, only it's in your ear hole.
In your middle ear.
It's like they missed.
Yeah. But it looks like it's an open ear design, kind of like the AirPods, because it doesn't have those silicone tips.
It's like somewhere in between
Yeah.
the AirPods and a what do you call it? Isolation version.
But they put some new microphone tech in there that's apparently good.
I'll be honest, I'm not expecting much out of these.
Yeah.
I'll probably have
Because
to buy them with my earbud obsession.
So you get 8 hours of playback on it with the battery case, 24 hours. But they start at $250.
That's too high.
Yeah.
For an unknown.
For unknown. If you had
If you got some good brand behind you with experience
Right.
in wireless earbuds,
then you could charge that kind of money.
yeah.
Here's okay. I mean, I know I'm armchair quarterbacking right here for Microsoft, but what they should have done, if you ask me, is they should have had a slightly less high-end version for like $199 or $169, somewhere around there, and then they could bring out the $250 version like a year later and say, look at all these improvements we've made. We're still selling the lower end ones, but look at these ones for $250. Once they've got a little bit of like consumer confidence, because right now, honestly, they don't have any consumer confidence that I'm aware of in the headphone business.
No, they do. They put out some noise canceling headphones like a year or two
but they're
ago.
mediocre and they're way too expensive.
They are expensive. They're above mediocre. They're good. They're not like Sony or Bose quality.
Right, but they're charging the same kind of money as Sony or Bose.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
These earbuds have like a touch surface on them, so you could set up special things to do on Android.
Gestures
so
and stuff.
You can like open Spotify and it'll start playing automatically, apparently. But I don't think that justifies $250.
This one's saying you can navigate through PowerPoint slides.
You just stand up in front of everyone and just like swipe your ear when you want the slide to go
Just
forward.
nervous tick. Don't pay attention to me stroking my ear.
Classic Microsoft right there.
Yeah, this article says it wipes the floor with the AirPods.
I would hope so.
Well, for that much more money,
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't have a whole lot of faith in that right there. So yeah, did they announce anything else, or is that? I think that
That's the majority of it right
yeah,
there.
That's about it right there. Sony also made some announcements this last week about the PlayStation 5 of all things, and just in like random knowledge drops. There was no sort of like fanfare, no press or anything. They just
I like this.
It's really interesting because
It's refreshing.
Game console companies haven't done this in ever.
I'm so tired of the big old keynote where they're all self-congratulatory and it takes like 2 hours just to announce a tiny little thing.
Wait a minute. What's his favorite
Sony.
tech company?
Sony.
Apple?
Apple.
And that's
That's
their
Sony.
That's their like
Their whole thing is if we're
whole
excited about
thing.
it, you're
Sony,
excited about it.
Palm, then Apple.
you are such a liar.
But
No
Palm's
way.
dead, so you can't love a dead thing.
I can't believe you that Sony is your number one. No way. You have way too much Apple stuff versus Sony stuff.
Sony has history. Apple doesn't. I didn't start liking Apple until like 2008.
Yeah, but the amount of money, the amount of Apple products you have versus Sony products,
So he's got
says a very different story.
Because Sony doesn't make computers.
He's just got a nostalgic love affair with Sony that it's still there from days gone, and so he puts it in front. I get that.
Does he have a Sony Android phone?
No,
he's got an Apple Android
No.
phone. Does he have
Apple Android phone.
or an Apple iOS phone? Does he have a Sony Bluetooth speaker? No.
Yes, I did.
Do you?
I did.
Do you?
what
I
if
gave it
Sony-
away.
Does he have Sony earbuds? No, he's
What if-
got Apple earbuds.
I'm gonna
seeing a
buy them,
trend here.
though.
Does he have any Sony audio visual stuff for
Yep.
his home theater?
I sure do.
What?
The PlayStation 4.
Nope.
I use that to play Blu-ray.
That's a console.
Your TV's not
And you
Sony?
do not use that to play Blu-ray because it does not play 4K Blu-ray. You use
Plays
your
normal Blu-ray,
you
though.
Use your Xbox to play
Xbox
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray app sucks.
You have
And this is the truth.
10 Apple products for every one Sony
Maybe
product
it's just
you
like
own.
it's just a bad boyfriend.
So we're on a Star Wars binge lately in the lead up to Star Wars Episode 9, and I put in a Blu-ray into the Xbox. It took a minute for it to load. A minute. It's like it was buffering or something. It
Yeah,
was ridiculous.
but you didn't put it in your Sony.
No, I didn't.
Well, what did he do with his Sony mini disc player?
He sold it to me for $50.
Oh, darn.
See, that's what I mean. He just practically gave it away.
Oh, I love the design of that mini disc player still.
So Sony is definitely not your number one tech company. I mean, there's no you just
Get out of
can't
my
be.
head.
So he's against big long keynotes, but Apple is his secret lover.
I think it's refreshing though. Like,
but
to
it
just
is.
give
It
news.
is.
Just
What they
give
did.
me some information.
They talked about a little bit about how the controller will be. They said it's going to have a bigger battery than the PlayStation 4 controller. Yeah, which it needed bad. It's going to use USB-C for charging. Also,
I
a
really
good thing.
like the adoption of USB-C across multiple platforms.
And
I
that's
think
what it should.
cool.
Everything should be going to USB-C, if you ask me, because
Yeah.
it is just so much better than micro and even than the Lightning port, because you get the same qualities of the Lightning port with way more throughput.
Yeah.
Only downside, slightly thicker.
Yeah, it is just a tiny bit bigger, but And so they also announced that the controller is going to have some new haptic feedback built into it. That's supposed to be better than their regular Rumble packed stuff that they usually do. And then the other thing they announced is they confirmed that it will be an 8-core Ryzen Zen 2 CPU in there.
Woo!
So
That's a huge upgrade over the current gen
yeah,
CPUs.
8-core,
Huge.
8-core 16 thread. So it will still also have the hyper-threading style of logical performance.
The current gen consoles shipped with an old CPU when it shipped.
When it shipped, it was an old mobile CPU.
Jaguar cores.
When it shipped. So we're talking a massive, massive improvement in the quality of the CPUs.
You think they'll up that massively with the price?
No, I don't think they will.
The GPU upgrade won't be that great compared to the CPU. Like with the new CPU, you'll be able to drive better AI and
More physics.
Yeah.
Yep. More
And you
character AI, character animations, all that.
Do you think the console market has kind of peaked as far as what they can charge for a console, or do you think that they're going to do something like Apple and start charging $1,000 for?
No, they're just going to segment. They'll do similar to Apple. They'll have probably 2 or 3 versions like they already kind of do. I mean, they just took a while to release both versions of PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One X.
That medium-sized meal trick that they do.
Exactly.
Like, here's the small one. Here's the medium one for
Here's for another buck.
for another
another $2.
$75 you get this one, but for another $85
You get the big
you
boy.
get the big boy.
And they confirmed that it will ship with 4K Blu-ray. Thank goodness.
Yep.
PS4 Pro should have had that.
Absolutely, it should have.
Now you can
So-
have one Sony thing you use for your system.
Yep, I can
There you
drop.
go.
I can dump the Xbox altogether because all the Microsoft games will be on PC anyway.
This is true.
Wow.
That is a possibility.
Yes,
You
I like
have to
this.
keep your 360 so you can play HD video discs.
HD DVD.
That's right.
There's something about
Just
the
30 years behind on
the-
everything.
something about the abandoned formats that Twyman just can't help but love.
I got Die Hard on HD DVD.
Somebody's got to keep it alive,
geez.
The people that are still holding on their Betamax,
Got them. Star
Yep.
Trek.
the Betamax, their Betamax collection. Somebody has to be the archivist, the
torchbearer.
the history. Somebody has to be like, is there any fool when the aliens attack and they're like, does any person
called you a fool, by the way.
Does any person still have this to save the world?
It's
One
like
guy will be like,
I have Beta.
I
I
have-
have Laserdisc.
I have working Betamax.
That's
and
like the
Laserdisc.
plot to Voyage Home, right?
Mhm, yeah,
I
exactly.
have the whale.
Yeah, exactly.
need.
I was just thinking of that. I was like, hey, they need Whale Song, he'll have it on Laserdisc.
Yeah. You'll hear my VHS tapes making that little crinkle sound.
What blows my mind is Laserdisc is an analog technology when my brain tells me it should be digital.
yeah, that is really confusing to my brain as well.
Yeah. Weird.
They actually press laser discs, don't they? Isn't it pressed?
So Laserdisc looks like a CD DVD, right?
Yeah.
And now my brain just farted on what the other one was called that is like a record inside those cases. Do you remember that?
Oh,
video.
yes. I think I only ever saw one in my life. But yeah, the laser disc is still analog, so it still pits
Yeah.
and
It's
rises.
waves, right? Yeah, so
in,
it's still
on the thing. It's not a.
And then when you look at a digital format versus an analog format, you see the wave.
Yeah, the
form
waves,
versus
yeah.
the clips, right?
Yes,
See, that
exactly.
technology seems more complex to me than just freaking digital,
Yeah.
Ones and zeros.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me for some
But
reason.
people like the quality, right? Analog's better.
For video,
It's more real. It's
not better. It's not better.
Quiet. It worked in the vinyl record world.
Yeah,
Yeah, you waiting for that the laser disc come back
they're
now?
making a comeback. Eventually, people realize our eyes need analog. Whatever's being stripped away in those corners of digital.
It sure makes the special effects look better on old Star Wars movies.
Oh, speaking of media, though, one thing I did forget to say is PS5 will use 100 gigabyte optical Blu-ray discs for games.
Yeah, the 4K Blu-rays.
Oh, are those all 100 gig?
I think so.
I thought they were like 50 gig.
No, that was normal Blu-ray.
But are they still going to? I mean, I guess I just don't understand the economy of discs anymore for a medium at all for games.
You have people like Twyman who like to have physical copies of everything.
I guess for resale too, but
or just for collector mentality.
Right. No, true.
Yeah.
Album art.
You
Album
of
art.
all people should know
I'm a
about
digital
collector
hoarder.
mentality.
I'm a digital hoarder, so I save no. If I get something, I put no energy into the actual artwork. I'm just like, I have the data, and that's all I need.
Well, I just meant like physical electronics in general.
I do. I never throw anything away.
That's what I'm talking
I have
about.
many things, and you know what? And then it's fun to finally figure that out that they're worthless because I only keep them because I'm like, maybe they can sell these, and then it's fun to go shoot them with guns later.
This is true. We have done that.
Yeah.
So it depends on how many layers there are. So back in the day with DVDs, they would add multiple layers of the thin metal, which would store the pits on it. Blu-rays, if it has one layer, it's 25 gigs. 4 layers have 100 gigs.
Okay.
So, and I believe if it has more layers, then it's pretty much a 4K Blu-ray.
Yeah, you've ever noticed that when you're watching old DVDs, it would be going through a scene, and then there would be a
Like a skip.
as it would
Yeah.
load the next layer down.
Yeah. And all that does basically, if I remember correctly, is focus the laser differently.
Yeah,
To go to
it's
the
going
next layer.
one.
Yeah.
I can show you that sometime. I got DVDs.
Of course you do.
He's our torchbearer. You are the historical archivist.
The tech historian.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've already told you about Laserdisc when you're watching Jurassic Park, and it's 8. It's
discs.
4 double-sided discs. So
Right.
there's like
Wow.
a T-Rex foot coming
So-
down, and it's like, flip the disc.
It's like,
So you
please
get-
flip the disc.
You get to watch it 25 minutes at a time,
Yeah.
20 minutes at a time.
Pretty much.
Oh, jeez. I remember that from your house, Jarron, actually, watching Toy Story on Laserdisc.
I got
What?
that.
Yep. And
I don't remember that.
we were watching it, and all of a sudden it just froze. And your dad's like, oh, got to flip the disc. I was like, what is going
This
on?
is the future.
But 480p.
480p glory. Yeah, so that was the PS5 news.
Oh, and the design leaked. It looks super, super crazy. It looks like a horseshoe kind of.
No. That was only the design of the dev boxes.
But people are saying it's been confirmed that this is the actual. It's
No
not.
way.
It's not for sure yet.
If
but
Sony's going to release a device that looks like that in 2020, they
Ugly.
are Yeah, they are way off base. It is gross looking.
Oh, it's a portable toilet.
It's huge too. I mean, it looks bigger than the. Of course, we don't have anything scale wise to look at it with, but it looks bigger than the original Xbox, like that came out in 2002 or whatever.
Yeah, could you just kind of push that together and then cut the size in half instead of having that?
Seriously, it looks
Indent.
It looks massive, and I just don't see that happening because Sony systems always, after the PlayStation 1, starting with PS2, their systems have always been kind of built to like slide into an AV cabinet and just look like another piece of your AV, basically black boxes. The PS3 it was a little bit different because it came out first with that
contour, right?
contour,
Yeah.
that rounded top.
Nice.
that design
but-
did not age well.
No, not at all.
I still have mine. I still have mine though. I love that because it could play my Blu-rays.
And it had
And it had apps I could install Plex on there.
yeah, as well as it supported it was backwards compatible all the way to PS1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The
Yep.
original PS3
Yep.
with the high gloss finish.
And you could hack that device and put they fixed it really quick in the PS3 code, but you could hack that that device and install a version of Linux on there
Oh, nice.
that wasn't their bulky thing, and it was like screaming fast. The UI. It's hard to find those consoles now, but if you have one, they're quite valuable in the underground.
Especially if it still works.
Yeah.
I mean, because they weren't very reliable to begin with.
Yeah.
And B, they're old
The first
as crap
gens,
now.
the first gens of those were really kind of sketchy.
Really flaky. Blizzard. Did you guys read this article? Blizzard's in some hot water right now. We don't usually get political on Gadget Spot, but this was interesting, I thought. So basically, Hearthstone, which is Blizzard's virtual card game.
Yeah. They have a character now that looks like the Hong Kong protesters.
Well, no. So that's
that
actually
what
the
they're-
exact opposite of what
Oh,
we're going to
okay.
talk about. Because what they did is there's a pro Hearthstone player, which I didn't even know there were pro Hearthstone players until recently. Blizzard basically suspended his
stream.
it was his. I don't think it was a stream. I think it was his.
Pro Hearthstone Congress ended a stream. Oh yeah, no, you're right.
They suspended his ability. His he was working in a not working but competing.
Yeah.
He was competing in a tournament and he won, or at least he placed high enough to make prize money, and he shared some views about the Hong Kong protests. Saying to support the protesters. And Blizzard came down on him and cut his tournament access, disqualified him, and also told him he can't have any of the money that he won.
Yeah.
Man.
Is Blizzard? Where are they based? What are
The US.
Okay, they don't have a stake in that.
Yeah, I honestly I don't get.
I mean, because Asian gaming, like Blizzard, is still making a killing.
they are huge in Asia.
Yeah, like
huge.
they're killing over there still. So
And
I just can't understand that.
And if it was because they wanted to stay like
Neutral.
on China's good side,
Right.
I guess that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, I read that today. There was two in the article. It talked about that, and then one I read, and then it also talked about the NBA guy who spoke out as well on the Houston Rockets, and talked about, we need to support free speech, and the Chinese government came down, banned the Houston Rockets from playing in their country, took away all of
whoop-de-doo.
his swag, all these things. Apparently, Houston Rockets was their number one.
Oh yeah, because of Yao Ming.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So then they cut all that out, and then the Houston Rockets are like, "Oh, this guy doesn't speak for us. Please don't hate
Seriously?
us." And they backpedaled on their own guy.
So
Oh, man.
they
just-
must sell a lot of merch in China.
Yeah, they
That's
would-
what it is.
Right. So Chung Blitzchung.
Sure.
NGY. I'm not going to try and say his name. Anyway, he wore the mask like the protesters,
Yeah, the
on his
protesters'
stream, and then he ended it saying "Liberate Hong Kong, Revolution of Our Age," which is one of their sayings. So I can see maybe they thought maybe he was inciting violence or using their platform to push a political agenda, and maybe that's against some deep dark, end user license.
Yeah, there
agreement.
was some quote in that article about how it broke.
It violated.
Violated it by inciting violence.
Well,
or
let
something.
me say, okay, if that's the case, sure, ban him from the tournament or whatever, but taking away his prize money, no,
Yeah.
that's low.
that is BS.
Yeah, Blizzard clearly aware of the political repercussions in the Chinese market for such a statement.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah,
I was
so
right
they-
then when I
yeah,
assumed
they-
that.
they-
Epic seized on this moment, and they say, "We support free speech."
Yeah, exactly. Hey guys, look at us. We are cool.
And stop hating us for our store.
yeah.
Which I still don't get, honestly. At this point, it's just a waste of energy to hate on that store because
Yeah.
they are missing a few niceties that Steam has, but they make up for it by buying your love with free games every week.
And have they bought my love?
Oh man, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? They gave away 6 Batman games.
I know. And then Metro Redux.
Yeah, and Metro Redux was the week before that. This week is Minute. I guess the week we're recording. I can't remember what next week's is, but
It's good.
yeah,
good stuff.
they give away a lot of good free games.
And what's interesting about that Batman giveaway is Arkham Knight doesn't have DRM on it. Doesn't have the de novo DRM.
That's true, but did you watch Digital Foundry's video on it?
Right, it does make a difference,
It doesn't
but-
really make a difference, but
Interesting.
that is a phenomenal game, by the way. If you haven't played the Arkham games, they're so good. But
Is that on Xbox?
yeah, they are. You won't get it free on Xbox. It's only free on PC. It's not even free anymore. You had to catch it that week. But yeah, they're on Xbox, and they're spectacular games.
You have plenty of GPUs to be able to run it.
Me
I
too.
don't have a gaming PC.
Me too.
He's just
I mean,
got a
I
bunch
do.
of high-end GPUs for mining.
I do. I've got them placed nicely.
same-
in
same with you.
I've got them placed nicely in an aluminum rack.
Me too.
So
So it's like if you're a kid, you want this awesome Nerf gun, right? You buy it, you just put it in a closet, you just look at it.
Well, no,
It's making no money
No,
for
no,
you.
no.
No,
just
no,
like crypto. You don't even get to use it.
You're
hurts.
You're oversimplifying it. It's not like buying an awesome Nerf gun as a kid. It's like buying a piece of an awesome Nerf gun
Okay.
and knowing if I just spend a little more money, I can have a whole Nerf gun and play with it all the time. But I'm just going to use this piece.
what if that Nerf
here
gun
on
sat in the
corner.
closet and shot the wall continuously and made you money? Like, what if it did some mindless task for
Yeah.
you that made you a few cents every day?
Oh yeah, a few cents every day.
Yeah, then it is useful.
Hey, there's just the fact you can tell gamers, oh yeah, I got 3 1080 Ti's and 3
They're always like, whoa.
Radeon 7s just sitting at my house,
There's like, whoa.
and they hate you.
What's going on?
And they're like,
Speaking of crypto, we might as well talk about this.
ooh, I get my minute. All right.
Or should we save this minute to the next show?
No, let's do it now.
Let's burn this out because
Get it out of the way.
So I'm a kind of a big fan of Raven coin. It's a multi-algorithm coin, which makes it really kind of ASIC resistant. So as you're mining it, the coin will jump around to different algorithms.
Right, so you can't just set it on one and just
Some very clever people.
it.
Some very clever people figured out the method. If you know anything about trying to create a random number in coding, it's actually impossible.
Yep.
Because computers cannot be illogical, and so there has to be some logic to create a random number. Anyway, somebody figured it out.
Are you sure about this?
Yeah.
Well, what about like droids and data and stuff?
Yeah, those aren't real yet.
But
He's just trying
maybe-
to burn the minute.
Maybe
Yeah.
it's
Plow through.
All right. Thank you for listening to the Gadget Spot this
He
week.
totally got me. I totally fell for it too.
anyway, so Raven, some very clever people figured out that algorithm. They found out which way Raven coin was going to switch.
Yeah.
And they created some ASICs for it and some, what are they called?
FPGAs, I think.
FPGAs.
FPGA chips.
Yep.
Programmed.
And so the dev team for Ravencoin decided to fork to changed their algorithm. They did that. The fork went live October 1st,
Okay.
which basically cut out almost 10% or 10 I want to say terahash, but I'm probably not quoting that right. A lot of hash dropped off the network because these ASICs. So ASICs are stamped from the factory with this code. They can't be changed. They're
Right.
done. So those are basically pieces of trash now.
Useless.
Yeah.
Unless you can find something
unless the
else.
old Raven network continues
Right. To produce.
to keep that code alive.
Yeah.
Then you have something where you have ETH Classic, like Ethereum Classic and Ethereum, right? Because Ethereum still, some people still kept that code alive. It's still kicking. Anyway, so on the first, when it went live, and everybody basically all the ASICs and FPGAs were rendered obsolete. FPGAs are kind of predicted to come back because they are reprogrammable,
Right.
but the ASICs are toast, and it dropped a bunch of the hash off. And if you were mining Raven on day one on October 1st, there were some people making like $12 a day with 6 or 7 1070s.
That's like 2 years ago time.
Yeah, it's like when Raven first came out.
Yeah, or when
Raven first dropped.
Ethereum was at its high, and we were all excited about building rigs and
Literally 4 months later, it all came crashing down.
yeah.
Anyway,
it was a good 4 months. Though.
I'm still going. Like Twyman, I am a torchbearer of this
this type of tech.
this thing.
But the difference here, though, is Laserdisc used to be useful.
Crypto's hasn't reached its useful
I
potential
know.
yet.
I honestly still think that there is a place for it, and I think that especially the blockchain technology.
Yeah, blockchain, I think so.
There's definitely a place for it in the future of technology, but it's still in its infancy.
This is
When the whole world's economy is collapsed because of Facebook Libra, I want to have the last laugh.
PayPal pulled their support for Libra. They said we're not backing that anymore. It was a sec nightmare. Anyway,
what were you going to say, Twyman?
Oh, I was just going to say this is the best time of year to have a crypto miner because it's
Winter, right?
winter and
Yeah,
it's
that's
heating
true.
your house.
Yeah.
And I just turn on my fan to circulate the air
Yep.
out of the basement
Yep.
up into the rest.
I have
Okay,
a-
this is true.
I have a friend.
Serves a purpose.
I have
Heats the house.
I have a friend who is miners in the basement during all the rest of the year, and then in the winter he brings it up to his main floor.
it just heats the
and
whole house.
Starts heating the
Ambient
main floor.
heat, yeah. So anyway, if Raven's still pretty good. It's still pretty good right now. Like if you want to, I tried to switch my miner over to Raven today and completely killed it.
He
so
borked it.
I've got to go play with that. I got 2 of my cards over on my secondary rig, but my primary big guy ate it. Anyway, so I'm gonna play with it, see if it keeps up its momentum for a little bit, and
What are people making on it right now? So it's been as of recording, it's been 9 days.
Yeah, so right now people are. It's not. I mean, on Ethereum, I'm making about 20 a week with 7 cards. Right. So, Raven right now, Raven right now, I haven't been able to pull the numbers, but because I don't pay for power, mine's a little bit different than the average. But I think people from online, I just did a little research today before I tried to jump on the bandwagon like I do. And
am I too late, guys?
I'm a FOMO. I'm not gonna lie. I'm affected by FOMO, and I feel like I was not paying attention because I have gotten a little jaded with the markets, and so
especially
I didn't
the
realize
last couple months.
Yeah, it's been painful to watch that, and so yeah, I tried to change and borked it, but some people online from the research I was able to do, they're still making decent, like with 5 or 6 1070s, they're still getting $7-8
a day.
Yeah, like a day.
So that work out to be like over
Like
35,
35, a little bit higher than
a
I
week.
think. Yeah, a week.
That's pretty good.
So it's not bad. Like I said, Ethereum's still the steady. It's still there, and the network hash hasn't really changed the difficulty. So I was going to try it out, and I guess I'll keep you posted for upcoming shows on what Raven did if I decide to switch back.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you have a moment and you want to, if you still have a miner for those, probably, I mean, Twyman's here, so
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other listeners out there that still crypto mine, but
I used to use T-Rex, so go dig that out.
that's what I just downloaded today. They've got a new version for the new X. What do they call it?
The new fork.
Yeah, it's called XR16V2. So anyway, go check it out.
Nice. All right, I think that wraps it up. We'll be back with you next week. Thanks for making it to the end. If you did, we appreciate it. Share the podcast.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends.
and give us a rating on iTunes.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. All right, that's it. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for listening, Twyman. Thanks for coming down and filling in for James last minute.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk to you next week. Owen, take us out.
Hey, we hope you care.
Gadget Spot.